Hi, this is Attila16 and this is a video guide of Wargame Red Dragon. In this case, we'll show you a EuroCorp Motorized deck. This is a bit of a replacement guide for a guide I did in 2014, which is a bit dated and that I receive a lot of flack for because it's a bit, it was released prior to the release of the game, so balance of the game did change and a lot of knowledge did change as well. So this deck that I'm showing you here, I'm using it currently in 2016. So this is a deck which is extremely effective, and I mostly use it in 10 versus 10, of course, which is the most fun part of the game, if you ask me. Let's explain to you the logic of it. Alright, so let's start with the command vehicle. I use a P4 PC, which is fast on its wheel, and you have 6 of them, so usually that's enough for 10 versus 10. Then I use an FOB because you never know how long your round will last, and as the round that I will show you, they can last quite a while and drain a lot of your resource. Then I use that transport chopper for supplies and some Mankati for supplies as well because they offer a good amount. Then infantry, I'm using the ATGM Milan F3 VAB T2013 because that transport vehicle has an autocannon, so that's useful. And the Milan F3, some people, and I will agree with them, say that it's a bit, it doesn't change much, but when you have 26 AP power, that will kill whatever shows up. So it's a good choice. You can choose the F2, it's also pretty good. It depends, it's up to you. Then I use Chasseur 85 with the same transport. And these I use them for early battle in a town, for example. So you can afford to waste them. That's a way to see it. But actually, prior to wasting them, I like to use the Deck Kungruppe, which is an anti-tank unit, but also has the capacity to shoot infantry with 2 HP power. So that's a very useful unit, and they are cheaper than your chasseurs, so it's a good recon unit, I will say. So then Fallschirmjäger with Milan transport. So you have some missile, Milan F1 missile on the transport, which can be useful. And the Fallschirmjäger 90 are one of the strongest backup unit you can have. Then Commando de Marine, also a good unit with the VAB transport once again. And then I use the Legion 90, which have an Hendrix launcher. So they're also a pretty good infantry for the infantry fight, but that anti-tank has 25 AP and it's really short range, you rarely miss. So it's a really good unit to advance in a town which is crowded by APCs and tank. Also pretty good at holding against a tank rush. And finally some Mistral, which are an amazing anti-air unit with a range of 2.6 kilometer. So that's really good against chopper. And you can put that into the town. Don't have many of them, but they are really good. The support, I use the César, which is a really powerful artillery unit. And yeah, very long range and it's really good. Just use that. Then I use those Flag Gepard A1, which are good on the move, but that's mostly a good unit overall against chopper and planes. With 60% accuracy, that's a good stat. And then Krotal, really good unit, only 4 missile though, but you compensate with the very long range against chopper, perfect to eliminate chopper rush. It's just that you need to feed them a lot of supplies, so that's a bit of an issue, but you have many of them. Then I use the FRR Roland 2, an advantage of that unit is actually the speed, so you can get them into a situation and get them out, which can be useful for an anti-air. But it's still radar guided, and it's a bit risky to have them. You only have 4 of them, so that's a bit limited. But overall, it's a good unit, 65% accuracy, mostly against plane. A bit short range against plane, but what can you do? Okay, now with the tank, I use 2 group of Brennus tank, which require you to be static to shoot. That's a bit of a detail. But they also have an autocannon, and I like those tanks because, first of all, they have 16 AP power, which is usually the best compromise in terms of AP power for tank. They don't have much armor, but the autocannon and their anti-tank capacity allows them, well, their cannon allows them to be good at covering an advance or a fight in a town. So this is a good complement to your infantry. Then recon, I use Commando Para, which is a good infantry unit. You can use them in the town. Also, I don't use them much because they're recon and I rely on other recon and I have a tendency to forget about them. But that's a good infantry unit. Always useful. Then I use Alouette 3 or 3. And that's your cheap recon infantry, which you can afford to waste. And that will give you eyes on the region that you just want to keep an eye on. Then PAH Tiger. This thing is really good stuff. You have anti-air missile, which is 70% accuracy. A bit short range here, but that's still a good unit to have. And you have those rockets, which allows you to kill infantry or light vehicle. And you have also those Hot 2 missile, which are deadly. So it's a really good unit to have. And on top of that, it's a recon with exceptional optic. So this thing is a must-have. Then VBL Mistral. That's recon which has anti-air capacity. It's a bit of a specialty or something unique to the French. Really good unit, fast on its wheels, and it can kill chopper very easily. So it's good to have, and it's stealthy. Then I use the Leopard 1. Actually, in the video, I'll show you I use the Curse, which is this, but I think overall it's better to have more recon tank. Okay, then vehicle Marder VTS1. That's like for me a kind of a cheap cannon to have. So you can afford having many of them where you need them as soon as you need them, and they are less expensive than the tank. So and they have a pretty good AP power. It's 15, and usually it's like my Brennus has 16. So it's a very nice vehicle to have. Then I use the Mephisto, which has rockets, or actually missile, 12 of them, and AP power of 22, 50% accuracy, and they have a really fast speed of 90 km/h. So that means with this you can get in and get out of a situation. Then you have the Tiger, well, in choppers, Tiger had good anti-tank unit. I also have rockets, and that's a unit to use carefully, but it's super deadly with 25 AP power. Gazelle Celtic, very good on air-to-air capacity and not that expensive, so you can afford to waste them. Not that much, but you know, it's good to stop a chopper rush. Then I use a Puma 330H Cassiope. That's a good combo with the Celtic because, well, the Celtic will deal with the chopper rush, the Cassiope will deal with anything perhaps below a tank, but they can deal with tank as well. So they will deal with the ground stuff, and they're not that expensive. Then I use the Tiger Hap, which is a bit shorter range. No, actually, same range as the Gazelle Celtic, but much more expensive. Has some rocket and a cannon, which make them okay to suppress enemy troops, but it's clear that this is a kind of a mixed feeling about that chopper, but it's really effective. It's just a bit too expensive, let's say, to waste it, but it's a good combo overall. And now I use the Tornado IDS because this thing is good to get in and get out of situation. So very effective unit, 2 group of them, so that's 4 plane. And their ECM is good and air detection also, but it's mostly the speed and ECM that matter, as well as the payload, which is really powerful. Good to destroy infantry unit in buildings, and if you use many of them, you can even destroy a pretty heavy tank. So that's it for the presentation of this deck, and now let's move on to the big battle. So let's go there. Alright, so here we go with a replay, which I played with that German motorized deck. And let's restrict this view to mine. Okay, so here we go. So as you can see here, this will be at maximum an hour and a half of a battle. I think it's about, actually if you look here, it's an hour and 15 minutes. So this is a very, very long battle, as you can imagine. And we'll have quite a bit of action, actually. And actually you will see that I think at the end of this battle, I probably had only perhaps 3 or 4 type of unit, which I still had unit to bring. So this is a battle which was pretty epic. It's worth a good watch, and I guess you'll see pretty much all the kind of context in which you end up using each type of unit of the deck, which is a good thing for a guide, let's say. Also, in terms of teams, you had some pretty experienced player on both sides, so that's also pretty good. So that's why this battle lasted an hour and 15 minutes, because that was a pretty close fight. Actually, I don't even remember if we won. No, I think we won, yeah. So, first thing I decided to do was to make a push on Oscar and kind of deal with it early on. So for that purpose, I brought what I guess you could call a chopper spam, but it's mostly, let's say, a decisive measure early on in the fight. And considering this is a fight which lasts a long time, being decisive early on could have saved us a lot of time. But it did, I guess. But you know, when you're fighting good players, even a good decisive blow will not impress them. So the way I did it is I brought Puma Cassiope, which have autocannon, as explained in the guide, and then some Gazelle Celtic, and some Tiger Had, and some Tiger Hap. So essentially I'm using this early on as an airborne deck nearly. So we can see these units, so sending them right away. The thing is that in 10 versus 10 you end up having a lot of chopper rush, and that's why the French element of this deck is really good. It's good to deal with choppers. Like those Celtic will deal with that. That's why I send them first. Now the other team fire some cluster bomb, and this player here spotted. So he stop his advance and just wait for it to pass. Well, in my case, I'm not really affected. Well, here I have a couple of anti-tank infantry, which I'm sending, plus some Crotal in case of a chopper rush, so you never know. And actually, you can see over there that there is much of a chopper rush. Now at that point, pretty clear that there's no chopper here, so I'm sending those Celtic in the metal, which might be an error, because I kind of wasted them. But I actually never watched what happened to them. While here my Cassiope are a good wall of receiving the enemy AA, while my Tiger will take care of those anti-air. And Cassiope is really good to deal with light vehicle and infantry, so that's a good unit to have. And I ordered my Tiger to shoot those anti-air. As you can see here, early on, managed to deal with a first army, and here there's actually a second one coming. Let's see what's happening over there. So I killed a chopper over there. But overall, I think it's a bit of a waste. I managed to kill a couple of choppers here. But I guess I sacrificed my Celtic. So here I actually managed to kill the anti-air of this player really quickly. So my Cassiope ended up continuing the fight and chasing down the enemy tank, which were actually T-55A, not particularly good tank. And since they don't have anti-air, he decided to pull back, which is a wise choice. You can see in the middle a lot of MiG-29 coming in. So at that point I'm kind of pushing toward there with the Cassiope, which you could argue is a mistake, but at the same time there was a chance that there will be no AA coming from there. Cassiope are not that expensive, so it's worth sacrificing for the cause. So at that point, I know there's anti-air there, pulling back my Tiger, which are my main fighting force in terms of choppers. Pulling back my Krotol, I unloaded some Dekun Gruppe. And my Futch are here. Well, here I'm using those Futch and anti-tank infantry to scout forward. So, sacrificing them for the cause. And what am I doing here? Gazelle Celtic, the only one that survived. And now I'm bringing some command vehicle here. So here I'm kind of finding those artillery unprotected. So I unload these. Sadly, this guy here managed to... Well, he's the one I just defeated, so he had only that to do. But he managed to escape with his artillery. But this one here, Yorkshire, which is a really good player, he did not notice. So I'm moving in my infantry. Now, sadly here, they just managed to get out of range of my infantry. But these won't. So these were two Smirch, really good target to destroy. So a few infantry here. But Mi-28 are a bit too strong for my anti-tank unit. Trying to make them survive longer, but it's not working. But still, destroying two Smirch is a really good move. Especially in a long round like this. I brought some planes, but I decided not to send them. While here you have a few choppers. Full of MiG-29. This guy is really enthusiastically doing combat air patrol. Which I wonder if my Krotol will engage. Nah, they seem to be out of range. Now, one thing about somebody that does that, bring a lot of planes, is that, first of all, he's limiting himself. Because he only has air-to-air planes. That's not ideal. Here there was some ATGM infantry, which I never really spotted. And now I'm switching to a phase where I'm sending command vehicle where I can, because that's something people neglect a lot, and especially early on in 10 versus 10, you need to to capture those zones. This way you maximize the amount of point you'll make. So here we spotted some I think anti-air infantry, and I think we ended up having 3 fighters dropping bombs on them, and we spotted a few recon here, which will be dealt with rather fast. Now we can see here a few anti-air, while here is building up an attack here, and as you can see they are bombarding this place, so they kinda expect me to be strong here, which I'm absolutely not. Like, I only have Crotol and a few anti-tank infantry, which nobody expect to be into a forest, by the way, which make them actually pretty good. So in the middle, the bombardment cycle. In the middle, I will say don't bring Commando and Marine first. It's a bit... well, I will not judge. This guy is a really good player, but it's like you're begging to lose expensive troops. Sure, you can advance fast, but with the amount of artillery you receive usually there, I think it's a bit of a risk. Well, here I'm dropping bombs on those Mi-8T, but sadly they notice me. But nonetheless, I have a couple of Tiger heading that way. We'll deal with this rather quickly. Also, those Tiger are really fast, as you can see. And some of them are air-to-air. So I'm dealing with these. It's not that many points, but it's worth having. There we go. These were likely the choppers for the recons. Right, now here they bring some infantry. Motorized. They killed my Crotol and my command vehicle because I was distracted here. But there's a bit of an advantage for this because while they put troops here, they kind of end up assuming that there's nobody on that zone. And there is these guys here, so... While here they're actually shooting that, but that doesn't mean they know I have stuff here, so... It's a bit of a hide-and-seek game. While here I'm a bit amazed by the fact that they haven't managed to totally secure this place yet. But I think, judging by the deployment here, they kind of were expecting to make a trap, probably. Just attract them and destroy them as they come. Well, here, as you can see, this guy decided to retake this position, and he's not aware that I have troops. And he sent his anti-air first. Big mistake. I guess this guy wasn't that experienced as a player. Also, that's something which is important in 10 versus 10 is you need to find a weak point in that front. Because if you don't, sure you can fight the strong points if you feel like it. But that's usually, that will cost you a lot. So here, while these troops here are destroying whatever he sends to me, I'm trying more or less to take back this position, which ended up being occupied by a couple of infantry, but also some pretty good anti-air spec up. So here I'm attacking, but then pulling back, so not particularly big action here. But that was important because the thing is that he's using his elite anti-air infantry to intercept whatever somebody is bringing here. Well, here I'm just redeploying my chopper on that position here so nobody see them. And I think at that point I send some leopard here to retake this position. There's still that ATGM infantry there, which is a danger. Now these are the leopard recon. Oh, my deck group is still active. I managed to take care of that, pulling back my leopard under the artillery. As you can see, a direct hit only does 2 square of damage. Well, here I'm bringing probably, what is this? Probably Chasseur or something like that. And here I'm refilling the rank of my Chasseur here. I brought some Fallschirmjäger to take that position because I know that they have spec ups. So I want to get rid of them. Here, as I said, Chasseur. Couple here, and I'm bringing my leopard here, so if there's any enemy coming from that road, I'll be able to dispose of them. And I keep these here, and some Krotol in reserve in case there's a chopper rush. I guess I probably could have brought less Chasseur, but you never know. Okay, now the guy that I was fighting left, but I understand him because I really was beating him. Here I did a few airstrike, and now I'm advancing with my Fallschirmjäger and Chasseur. Like, that's not a really important position, but that's still a 7 point. That we're not doing. And also, as long as they have troops here, they can feel like sending more troops and capture that position. So that's why it didn't matter to secure this place. So you can see they were using LSTR-40, which have a very good anti-air capacity with 55% accuracy. Not that long range, but still the troops are really good. Just not really good against infantry. Actually, you can see how they are killing my Fallschirmjäger. It's a bit of a draw. Okay, I managed to clear them out. So that's good. At that point, I'm sure that this place is a bit more secure than before. And now these Milan are shooting the APCs. Well, here there seem to be probably Uncle Sam, which is advancing. Another good player. So that means the opposition here will be a bit harder. And he also bring choppers and some good stuff. Few tanks here, I suppose. Oh, anti-air. Which actually can be good against infantry. I'm pulling back my Chasseur, because the enemy chopper can be a bit dangerous. No, so artillery doesn't seem to like that zone. Nice scouting with the Mi-2. Which I kill with Krotol. I'm moving to the left to kill that Mi-24. I did drop a bomb, which killed my own Chasseur, but that's okay. Mi-28 can be very dangerous, and my Crottle already show a sign of needing more ammo. Well, so far I killed 2,900 points of enemy. And sure, the guy which was initially fighting here did not do too great. No question about that. Well, here I'm bringing some Mephisto, which are really fast at moving and at shooting. Of course, the kind of stuff I'm shooting with them currently is not that valuable. I think here I probably pulled back my Crottle a bit too early. But I'm sending my VAB T20 toward that chopper because they have an autocannon which can shoot at chopper. It's not ideal, but it's better than nothing. Now, if somebody had an ATAC here, they would have had a great opportunity to kill those Mi-28. The issue with Crottle is that they fire their ammo so fast. Here I deployed my troops around this zone. This way, they're pretty sure it's secured. Now here you can see that they actually assume my Mephisto are hidden in that forest. And they took back that position with a command vehicle. Well, in my case, I'm bringing some Caesar, which I will use to bombard the stuff around the map. Here I'm not committing that many troops because at this point there's no real concern in terms of, you know, having this zone or not having it doesn't change much. And so far the artillery has been targeting me. Well, I had very few troops there, so you know that if you commit many troops, you will receive even more artillery on the head. And actually here, Uncle Sam seemed to be sending some stuff over there. But he's also doing minimal commitment. That's a second player on the other team leaving. And while in many cases people leaving might be bad, on the basis of that front, which is fairly stable, it's not much of a problem because the player which is receiving the units, he's not bad. So that should be... it's nearly an improvement when people leave. Oh, that's another one here. Oh, that one wasn't doing so bad. Well, here they seem to be advancing or doing scouting in force. Well, in my case, oh yeah, I did receive some troops, as you can see, because I'm the first player on top here. So I received some troops from somebody which left. And his force are over here. That's another enemy player leaving. But this time their artillery here is accurate. And I kinda noticed that a bit late, I guess. While here I decided to pull back these troops because really I'm not aware of what's the situation here. And when you don't know something, it's best to just pull back. And if somebody left, usually it's a bad sign. But in this case, I don't think it was a bad sign at all. He probably just left because some people just don't have the computer fast enough to handle large scale battle like this. Took out a recon here. I guess I'm perhaps pulling these back a bit too far. Bit of an overreaction. Well, here in the middle, still an infantry fight going on. I noticed that those Commando Marine, I'm not sure if they are the same as the original ones, which were over here. But that seemed to be quite a fight of position, with a lot of artillery falling in the middle. Now, I'm also firing with my Caesar. While here, they really bombard me. They seem very determined to make sure that I'm not pushing there. Which is a bit strange because I really don't commit much troop. And let's see, is there artillery falling elsewhere? You can see that this front is really static now. Very little movement. Oh, I also received the troops from another player here. Some mortars and choppers. Also some Cobras here, which I'm sending here. I will make them rearm themselves. And that also brings me some Mars. I'm still moving my Caesars around and shooting artillery. I'm not sure where I'm shooting actually. Seem to miss the sight each time I'm shooting. So here I'm recommitting these troops. And while here I'm pulling back those Roland because it's a bit exposed here. And I brought the tank over here because I'm still kind of focused on this area. No, actually here I have multiple artillery. I received more Caesar from a leaving player and some Mars, which are a good artillery type. But I guess at that point a lot of this fight is just happening in the center. And here I'm deploying some a recon, which I think I sent somewhere here. I'm deploying a recon a bit all over the place to ensure that if there's anybody trying to sneak around, I can spot them. But here it's a bit of a mistake because, well, I think I remember that it wasn't that much of a mistake. It was more, I don't care. Because that kind of shows you that there's nobody here. And here I'm deploying some Roland because there seems to be some air activity over here. I managed to shoot down a bomber. Show up some napalm on our troops down there. And you can see that there is a lot of air unit bombarding because somebody committed a lot of troops here. So it's a bit an artillery exchange and airdrop kind of stuff. And somebody else in our team left. So I received all these troops, which is actually a pretty good army. You have M1 Abrams and that kind of stuff, but at that point, first of all, I'm not aware of what's going on here. He told us that he was ready to make a push, but I don't know what kind of a position is in front, so I'm ordering them into a defensive position, and I will end up sending them on that line here. Because, first of all, I don't know what's ahead. Secondly, with a kind of force like this, letting the enemy come toward you might be a better idea sometime. If you're strong, you better appear weak and just wait for them. So here I deployed the line of recon. Could be tank here, just to ensure that there won't be any infantry push on this position. And here I'm kind of neglecting this part. Now I have received some ATAC and some artillery, so it's a bit of a change in approach for me because now I have some artillery and I can do damage. Now the middle is starting to struggle a little. That's why here I brought some anti-air, and I think we'll later on bring more stuff. But for now, I guess I'm just bombarding stuff. Where am I shooting? I'm shooting the anti-air over here. Because here's the thing, is that currently I'm controlling all that front all the way there. But so is my enemy, so. So now I'm just using the artillery and bombarding around the place. And also the thing is that there's many enemy artillery shooting us, and at this stage, if you commit big force, you will end up receiving a lot of artillery. So it's best to keep your best roof for later, when there's less artillery and less chance of dying. Some airstrike over here. You can see here, still bombarding different targets. It's not a particularly good target, but I'm shooting artillery here, I think. And I think I committed all my artillery to these. So killing those mortars unit. As you can see, many of them. Yeah, there was many in there. All those 40 points appearing. Not sure what that was, but that artillery strike was really good. And that significantly reduced the capacity of the player in the middle to shoot us. On the right side, they seem very well entrenched, on our side at least. And this guy has a lot of choppers. At this point, because I'm starting to notice that they are getting pushed back here, I bring some Brainus, which is a good tank because of the cannon, but also the other cannon. So it's really good to put them into that line of 3 where they can shoot the town and cover the infantry. I also deploy them a bit here so that they don't expose themselves too much to enemy artillery here. Actually, the enemy spotted me, so they ended up bombarding this place. I inherited the Tornado ECR, which I'm sending here to clear a few anti-air. End up losing it. But we shoot down one SU. I kept my Roland in the back because I don't want to micromanage them. Here I have inherited a couple of choppers. What else? Here there's no action at all. I can see Brennis are shooting the BMP there. There you go. This is a really good position because you can suppress anything that goes around there. So as long as you have eyes on something, those Brennis will shoot them. Now this guy seems to rely a lot on planes. And we lost the command vehicle here. While here we're starting to have some action. It's a tank push, which is being answered by a reaction from my ally here, which is a good move because he's advancing toward that direction, and here you're shooting them in the flank. But I think I did not even notice that thing. As you can see here, they bombard my Brennis. I push with Delta Force. You can see that they are gathering forces in the middle. That's why I'm a bit more committed to that zone at that point. And you know, this is starting to be a really big battle because people keep committing troops, and just look at the amount of units in there. It's quite a commitment of troops. While here they make a push with choppers, and I deploy my Roland around so that if they get spotted, they can engage those choppers without all being destroyed. So it's a defense in depth. Roland has a good rate of fire. Also, Brainus, in case of a chopper rush, have autocannon, which allows them to shoot choppers. I'm bringing my Brennis up the hill. This way I will be able to, I guess, suppress any invasion. But here those ATGM are shooting my tank, so I lost one. And those Roland are really exposed. So I kill the Spetsnaz. Good move. Now we have a command vehicle replacing the one we lost, and this will allow us to retake this position. They really don't like these things there. So now we retook that position. I'm calling in martyrs because they are cheap and I can have many very quickly. While here, the Roland managed to kill all 3 choppers which were flying there. And I'm pulling back my anti-air because I really don't know how this will end. Because you never know whether you might end up having a lot of enemy airstrike on your position or that kind of stuff. So even though we have that position now, this might be a trap. There might be an entire army down there. That's why Martyr are a good unit to commit in that kind of situation. Because they're not that expensive and they do have a good firepower. So I'm sending them around also because I can risk them. Got a chopper there with Crotol. So right now I'm recreating a perimeter for security. And you can see here they are actually sending troops. But they have some ATGM infantry there. Which I'm actually doing a fire on position with the martyrs here. Hoping to kill something. Well, here I brought some Brennus to destroy whatever shows up here. But the issue right now is the ATGM, which can be very damaging. Actually, those Brennus are nearly dead already because of ATGM infantry. What they do now is that they are actually sending toward us a bunch of very cheap vehicle, which cost 10. And it's likely that their aim is to make us commit air asset against troops which are not worth it. I'll show you what are these. Okay, 15 points. So they are really not worth it. But what happened is that they are the one committing these air asset. And I kept my anti-air off that plateau. This way I'm sure that it won't get destroyed by the enemy artillery, which is very numerous currently. And I'm also targeting with my own artillery that zone right there. So as you can see, kind of expected that there will be a slowdown of their force in that zone, so I end up targeting all over there. Also have my Brennus, which are well placed. And Crotol still have a very good range. We ended up not committing much air unit, which was a good move on our part. Sorry. So ATGM are managing to have eyes on me there. Now their artillery is shooting me. There's more chopper coming. My Crotol are a bit low on ammo. And I have redeployed a couple of tank and vehicle in that position right there, which allows me to take a shot at whatever APCs or tank are heading that way. I'm still bombarding that zone. Or actually we are. sure how did I manage to kill that CP, but likely the Brennus. And now I'm re-engaging the Crotals, which allows me to get rid of those Mi-25. Now the other guy, the other team just punched up their chopper. That's a really bad move. And here we're destroying another command vehicle for that zone. So right now we're all focused on that zone, both teams. Scrotal are out of ammo. Same here. They're still bombarding the middle. And they are starting to have a good position there. Sending some airstrike, including a Nighthawk strike there, which I inherited from another player. Doing a Mars strike on that position here. I should probably send those Crotol back to base, but I seem to be neglecting that. There's probably 2 players with those planes. Let's see. Yeah, that's 2 players doing a combat air patrol. Oh, here I'm really neglecting my Crotol. Fortunately, there is some Leopard 2A1 right here. And I seem to be shooting with my VAB here as well. I guess I was distracted by something else here. Oh yeah, I was sending some Martyr here. That's it. Should not have neglected those Crotol like that. Seem to be moving my choppers. Yeah, must have been distracted somewhere. Now I'm really like, what am I doing there? What is this? Oh. It's probably because I forgot to pull them back because I was ordering the attack movement, and when they are out of ammo, they don't have an attack movement. Well, here we actually have highs on that command vehicle, but I think there's another one. So we seem to be leaving them there. On that side, my team seemed to be advancing very slowly. Not sure what's that plane about. Oh, I did an 8-tack strike here, which is a unit I inherited. Good strike. And at that point, I'm not sure what I'm looking at. Because they took that position. And here they seem to be fighting a little. Here we seem to have good recon. Not moving anything here. Well, here, oh yeah, I think we just let them come, essentially. Because they had a strong force. And I did not have... It's like in the motorized deck, I don't have the kind of tank necessary to beat T80 BV and that kind of stuff. There was at least 3 players. So I think at that point I'm in a bit of a position where I'm like, well, let's do an ambush, because here I have a lot of choppers and they just don't know about this. So that's really a game of patience at that point. So you try to make them still weak, don't provoke their anti-air, and you just wait for them to get closer to you and expose themselves. And actually here you can see, yeah, that's exactly what I'm planning. I'm bringing a lot of supply vehicle to refill all the ammo and everything for my choppers, including some longbow I received. So here they're probably like, oh, we're advancing, no problem. Which is exactly what you want. Here my ally is doing a really big reaction in tanks, which is a good idea, but M11P tanks are not that strong. It's like he's not shooting them and he's getting shot. So it's not that great of an answer so far. Although he has the number, and Bradleys are really good. And currently this guy doesn't seem to want to come and help out this guy here, so he's kinda able to do a good job despite not having that great of a tank. And now that's when I decide to engage my force. So I'm starting by sending Cobras and UE kind of as a sponge for anti-air and spotting anti-air, which appear to be there. And at that point I'm sending tornadoes. Not sure why I'm sending them there. Well, I seem to have a pretty strong air defense. Or air attack, I should say. So now I managed to kill most of their anti-air capacity, and my Tiger and Longbow are killing all those heavy tank fairly easily, while the tank push here is happening. And the kind of troops the other team is losing is not the kind that you can replace easily. But you can see here I use my super tender to literally kill not that dangerous anti-air. So I'm really doing targeted strike with my air force, and that seemed to work. Kinda wiped out all their force, and he's bringing some choppers, but I do have a lot of air-to-air choppers. So M60L, which I inherited, as well as many different things. And also those M60L, they have a cannon, which make them good against APC and light armored stuff. So as a result, I'm able to camp that spawn and kill a lot of anti-air, which are not the best type of anti-air, I'll give them that. Here my Tiger, I'm pulling them back. Because now at that point, it's like my choppers are out of ammo, so there's no point risking them anymore. Sending them back here to rearm. And now the enemy reacted a lot with the anti-air, which ended up being killed by all those tank. So it's a kind of a good move. And you can see that's a lot of stuff being destroyed, right? Just look at the amount of stuff destroyed here. So at that point, this guy should have just quit sending reinforcements and get ready to just reorganize elsewhere and attack again. And now we're receiving the airstrikes. Which I guess Leopard 2A1 can handle. So I guess at that point where things get a bit crazy. It's a big fight. And this is really the kind of stuff which is specific to 10 versus 10 and some servers. That you end up with a really big battle like this. Where you have enormous amount of troops fighting enormous amount of troops. And that's why sometimes having, for example, a Tuardi or an M1A2, just two of them, is not a good idea because whoever has the most amount of cannon will end up winning. And sometimes I'm just like, I'm bringing a unit which are worth 10 points, but I can call many of them. So you might have the best tank ever. If I have more gun than you, I'll get close and I'll be able to shoot your super expensive tank. So that's the way you need to think 10 versus 10. It's not only about micromanaging your stuff well, it's also about you know, having the means to react to whatever happens. Like a real war, essentially. As opposed to just moving your tank forward and backward. So here I decided to use these troops because, first of all, having that many good Abrams, which are not part of my deck, by the way, just a reminder. You have a good amount of troops there, and it's good to use them. Killing some rather expensive T-72S1, which I think did not expect me to have that many good Abrams. So most of the points I have now, which is 11,000 points, were done mostly thanks to my motorized deck. I haven't really used these troops I'm committing now, but I think from now on it's very likely that more of that a bigger proportion of my kills will have to be done by M1A2 and that kind of stuff. Oh, actually here that was a really good move on his part. He managed to shoot two of my expensive tank in the back at short range. Really good kill. Same here. Those T-72S1 are really strong. But they are not strong enough to stop a horde of Abrams. But to be honest, in this kind of fight, I probably would have preferred smaller, well, less expensive Abrams. Here they are bombarding cluster bomb. So you can see me moving that blob, which actually is a really bad idea. You should not do that. It's like if you're skilled, you should spread them around and that kind of stuff. So I'm killing some expensive stuff and I don't have much anti-air. It's a bit of an issue. So I'm exposing my Abrams to enemy choppers. Fortunately, these are not the best chopper ever. And now I have a Crotal here, which is out of ammo, not practical. I'm just pulling back my stuff. And here's the deal. Here they have a lot of air-to-air stuff, but we're not using much air-to-air stuff. So I end up using my Celtic as an anti-air. which is actually a really good thing to do. But in this case, it's not that, you know, I had a bright idea of using that. It's largely because I just had nothing else to use as an anti-air. Because at this point, I think I'm really spent in terms of troops I can bring. That's why I'm kind of committing troops here. And you can see them reacting in a big way, bringing some very expensive stuff. Some 20. 155 points. But the thing is that this is a really close range engagement, so as a result, it's like the 20 is good, but it's not that great. Here you even have 4 Moderna, so the thing is Moderna is really powerful, but at this kind of range, you might have a powerful tank, but it's the amount of cannon you have which will choose who win. So I did manage to kill really expensive tank with those M1A1. But if he had just waited for me, like here, he probably would have win this exchange. Did an airstrike here. Bringing some Cassiope. Here we actually lost the middle again, or we did not retake it, I'm not sure. Was a bit focused here. Here I lost my Cassiope. And I'm just bringing back my Abrams, which are way too damaged. And also, at that point, if we actually take a look at supplies, it's empty all over the place. Empty, empty. Actually, here I have some, which I'm using on my choppers. And at this point, I'm even like out of ammo for artillery. So I'm just bringing them around here. Not expecting anything anymore from them. And while there's a lot of troops on the front line, you can see that there is a pretty big force in the back. So even if somebody was managing to push forward, he will have to deal with a lot of troops in the back. Now this guy decided to move forward, but I kinda ditched him by not advancing with my Abrams, but when you look at what was there, it was a wise choice on my part, and he should not have advanced there. And here they're just committing a lot of air support, combat air support. I'm moving a command infantry unit there. I have no idea how that ended up there. Oh yeah, now I remember what I did. Okay, it's been a short while, let's see. So what happened is that they're doing a big push here. Uncle Sam is doing it. And it's clear that here these Abrams don't have much of a chance, but I'm peeking, I guess. Taking a few shots. Then I notice, oh wait, there's way too many of them. So I'm just pulling back my troops. Using some Abrams. Here's the deal now, they're doing a really big push. So I'm in a full retreat, even if a full retreat means like 4 tank. While here nobody cares about the middle anymore. The right side doesn't have much action. I don't know why they did not push further here. All the attention was elsewhere. So here, my Abrams were literally out of fuel. Taking a few shots with the ADATs. But now that you know that rule about having more guns, Well, you have it now. Now they have more gun than me. So earlier I had better guns or more guns, but now they have the superiority. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling back my Abrams. Because even though I have M1A2 Abrams, there's just no way they can deal with that many T-64. Unfortunately, we kind of managed to push them back a little just by intimidation, and now they're just bombarding. But this is a pretty strong army in front. So I'm pulling back. I brought some Tiger Recon, which I did not deploy before. So, kind of expecting some action there. And here they have some anti-air. So they really are pushing hard. And T-64 BV worked 120. They can do 20 AP power. Compare that to, let's say, that M1. Okay, that one. Well, seems I have a hard time selecting. I'm moving my Tiger in order to take a few shots at those tank over there. Just slowing them down while I'm redeploying my Abrams. And I also know that they're a bit too far for their AA, but now one of them died, so it's time to pull back. Also, there's a few choppers in there which have anti-air capacity. Well, this Abram is sacrificed because he's out of ammo, or out of fuel actually. I brought some Leopard Recon there, but that's probably not much compared to T-64. They seem to take a few shots at the enemy infantry, which is good. Now I'm deploying some Mistral, which I did not deploy before in this fight. So when you bring infantry into an open fight like this, that tells you how desperate I am. Actually here, Mistral, they're not shooting. So what I'm doing right now, as you can see, I have my Abrams here, which are deployed here instead of here, where they will be expected. So the enemy is actually pushing that way, and that's really important. Well, here I have a few chasseurs, which can be good for close quarter combat if the enemy reach that forest, which I hope they will. Not even managed to capture the zone. My Mistral are now out of ammo, and I'm deploying some ATGM Milan F3 into that forest so that if they manage to push all the way here, they'll be able to do something. Well, here I do know that they probably don't have an angle to see here, so I'm moving my Abrams toward here. Because as you can see, all their force is over here, not here. So they are really focused on pushing there. I also have those recons which are shooting the infantry, and also choppers, which since they have an autocannon. So now I'm moving forward with 2 Abrams, which is not much. TGM Milan F3 are shooting some T-64. But now what's interesting here is that my Abrams just have an angle on the Tunguska M. It's 100 point per Tunguska. So I'm killing all their anti-air. Not all actually, but a good portion. While here, those Milan F3 are killing those tanks. Oh, they're not alone. Oh, there's some Leopard 2A5 there. So here those curs are shooting the enemy choppers. And I have an Abrams 1A2 shooting in the flank those T-64 BV. So that turned out to be a really good move. I'm even bombing them. So I'm dealing with those T-64, which have no choice but to pull back that way. And shooting them in the flank while they shoot missile at me. That don't seem to do that much damage. So I guess that's a good example where an M1A2 does a difference. Shoot them in the flank. Now there seems to be some action here. Another big push with tank. While here I'm just moving and dealing with those anti-air Chartungushkas. And here I'm coming in with some choppers, but I don't think that will do much. It's like this front is defeated. So I bring some elite infantry. I'm charging with supply choppers. That's great. Well, here they seem to have committed a large amount of tank. But I think I'm more focused on actually engaging that side. Putting back my stuff. And I think at that point I have probably 2 units of infantry left that I can call. Because otherwise you can count on me, I will engage here. But that won't happen. They had some choppers here, that could have been an issue. Oh yeah, actually it is an issue. So since that side is fairly secure, now they decide to make a big chopper rush here. And we literally don't have much anti-air around. Fortunately, you see those VBL Mistral. That's good stuff, and I will act with them. They also bring a lot of infantry. But they are really clumsy in terms of making a proper attack there. And they waste a lot of supplies on a single truck. So I did an airstrike which killed a lot of troops and choppers. Well, here I was a bit mixed about engaging these, but I think I ended up doing it. And what was I doing here? I wasn't doing much here. But my ally decided to waste his stuff over here. Now I'm engaging those Mistrals. Well, I'm engaging with those Mistrals. And shooting those chopper in the back. I managed to deal with a few of them. I have some rolling here, which I brought saved from that front over there. So yeah, that took care of that. Well, here they seem to be doing a good push. And I'm bombarding with those mortars, but really it's a bit of a waste of time. So I guess at that point I don't think I'm really doing anything more interesting. Because the round is about to end. There's a big push here, so let's just admire that. that many T80 BV. It's a bit intimidating. Oh, he's facing that with the AMX. Well, I guess an advantage is that all those tanks are moving that way. But a problem is that these tanks only get engaged one at a time. Seems that the push that the guy did here was wasted completely. So I guess that it's that point in the game where it doesn't matter anymore. So that was it. So this is really a round where I ended up using everything I had in this deck. So I hope you did learn a few things. And I hope this is conclusive enough that this deck can sustain a pretty good fight for long length of time in some crazy fights. So in this battle, I ended up doing a bit above 19,000 points in kills and lost 11,000 in loss, essentially. If we check what did what, I guess UP did good at the beginning. Tiger did good. Yeah, lots of kill with the Tiger had. Celtic kind of wasted my Celtic a bit early in this. And deck Gruppen did okay for infantry, I guess. Leopard did good. Tornado did good. Yes, the artillery did okay. Mars did really good, but that's not part of my deck. Well, actually, really good. These units are not super expensive. ATAC did really good, but that's not one of my units, sadly. FRR Roland 2 did very, very good. That's one of my units in that deck. Brynnis, they did okay. Died a lot, but killed a few. But nothing of super high value though. Tornado did okay. Nighthawk, I don't care. Longbow did good. Yeah. But that's American stuff. Tiger Hat did good. That's not in the deck here. Crotol did okay. Celtic did good. Combat, that's not part of the deck. So a lot of kill. Well, Mistral did good. That's part of the deck. Here, a recon vehicle did good. Couple more. Tornado did good. Mistral did good. And that's pretty much it. So there's certainly a good portion which goes to, of course, that fight toward the end with big tanks, where I killed a lot. But overall, it's a pretty good deck, EuroCorp Motorized. And I hope you enjoy this, and make sure to leave a comment about it, and I'll see you around.